Steven, how you doing today?
Hey Gary, doing
We
good.
have a we have a little bit different setup this week, but we're gonna keep this thing rolling and share some things that have been happening, a lot of things that have been happening within the walls of VividCharts this week. So let's get started. The first thing I wanted to do was highlight again a Washington, D.C. feature. We called it out. It was one of the things that I highlighted and we talked about a few weeks ago, which was the Access Analyzer feature that came out.
Yes.
There's two things this week that have definitely made me think about it. One is on kind of the non-official Discord for ServiceNow. I saw people were talking about it, discovering it and
Using
understanding the
it?
value. Seemed like they were using it. Yeah.
Cool.
Um, a lot of discovery. It's been around for a while, so some people knew about it, but in Washington, D.C., it got a mega uplift. So, there's more features and stuff. I think for us this week, it's top of mind because we're running a lot of persona testing. So we have our Bellas and Bobs and Amy's and Andres that we're out there testing. And so it's, you test as yourself as an admin and everything works and you log in as Bella and things work, but then maybe something didn't work. And so you got to figure out why.
Stuff changes. Yep.
So anyway, I just thought it was worth a shout out because if people haven't discovered it, go take a look. It's really helpful for a lot of your ServiceNow stuff. Testing. So this week, we're starting to test a couple of releases we have coming out in the VividSheets and the VividCharts. Let's talk about it. Yes. Let's talk about a couple of those. I want you to give us a little bit of insight into this thing that we're calling workflows
Yes.
inside of VividCharts.
Yep. So workflows. It's this really, well, it's just a place where you can go to start something new. So previously our application, whenever somebody was in there, the first thing that they would typically do is go right into an editor, start building charts, building slides, things like that. The problem with that though, or what is maybe sometimes challenging about that is we have a few different ways that you can create an output. So we have this technology called summaries or scaled reports, which is like using kind of a template or a blueprint and then applying that to different records and generating reports that way, which is really, really cool. But it can be challenging to understand exactly how to get to that output just by starting in the editor. So we've created this new experience called workflows, which is basically in concept to understand intent of the output earlier. So if the system knows your intended output, we can do much more things to guide you to the right place starting out, which is really cool. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think, we've talked to a lot of customers and users over, the last couple of years as we've moved into this new version of VividCharts. And this is something we've talked to a lot of people about. I do think people understand, I think this is a decision we've come to, is that people, when they start, do kind of have an understanding of what they want to get in the end.
Yep.
And so our challenge, your challenge, is to help take people from like where we get them at the starting line, which we could get them there, but then they know where the finish line is and helping them go the straightest direction to that finish line. And I do think workflows is going to be a place for that because we can contextually, you just said all this, but we can contextually give advice to people if we know where they're trying to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm most excited for, this sets us up really nicely to make that big impact for the scaled reports I think I mentioned. Yeah, very, very exciting things. Hopefully lots of improvements to that workflow in particular coming soon.
Yeah, and this is just our first step into it. So I think people will see as, we improve upon some of these things, some of these workflows will get attention up front, and then we'll continue to build some of the other workflows out.
Yep.
So
I was going to say one of the most important things for this release in particular that the workflow accounts for is interfacing better with VividSheets. Is that where you were going?
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say.
Yep. So with VividSheets, this thing where this new product that can be used to, we describe it as pre-processing ServiceNow data, doing calculations, running calculations or KPIs off multiple tables, that sort of thing. That can all be done in VividSheets, but now, given this workflow, if you choose a particular workflow, you can actually go and draw data visualizations referencing the VividSheet as a data source, which is all kinds of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate like your foresight into including VividSheets as one of the workflows. Because I think, we have two applications now, VividSheets and VividCharts. It's easy to think of, okay, you have the VividCharts workflows, and then you have this thing called VividSheets. Could feed into VividCharts, but it's a separate thing. But really, it is another workflow. And so I appreciate you having the foresight to get that thought of up front. The nice thing about that also is now that we understand that's a workflow, we understand the slide deck workflow, the interconnectedness between these two applications. And if you have them both installed, they flow seamlessly together. We call it the bridge, but it's more of a interlacing of the applications.
Yep. Yeah, they sit much more closely together in this release.
So you can pull data from VividSheets into your charts on VividCharts. But one of my favorite features that you came up with, or UIs, like it was when I first started playing with it, seems so simple in concept, but was like pretty delightful, was when I was in my Vivid sheet and I pulled up the list of reports and charts that were supported by that sheet.
Yeah. So even if you built a Vivid sheet and you shared access with me, you shared a data source access with me, I can go draw as many charts as I want with that. But you have the capability to go and see what I've done with that data that you've
So if I'm in that case, if I'm going to be editing some of the characteristics of the sheet, I could understand if I'm going to impact someone that's other than me.
Yep, exactly.
But also I could start to see, even if I'm the only builder owner of the sheet and then builder of the charts, am I using a sheet just once for a bespoke use case to solve a stakeholder's problem? Or do I have a sheet that's driving a lot of, value in the company and serving a lot of reports? I think
a bunch of charts.
Yeah. And again, you were, in the design, when you're choosing the sheet, the delightful thing again that I was playing with today more was you go from the Vivid chart kind of setup of the chart back to the sheet. So again, more than just a bridge, this is definitely intertwining the two applications. So I'm excited about that.
Yep, likewise.
Okay, so those are clearly like the big massive rocks, as we call them sometimes, in this release. Is there anything else coming out in this release that you've thought about as like will be a delight to a user if they encounter it?
Something I have found kind of naturally being quite delightful is being able to select a bunch of charts at one time to move them around on the editor. So if you're styling a slide, my workflow goes like this. Like I'll try a lot of different things and put things in different positions and see how they feel and affect the readability of that slide. Don't always get it right the first time, which means that quite a lot of objects on the canvas are moving around. And now we can multi-select or select many charts at once, which makes things, a lot more better.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that. It is actually one of those features that people have asked for multiple times in our backlog. Has felt like a pretty challenging task to take on, but engineers are good like that, and they took on the challenge, and I'm pretty excited about what they've delivered.
Yeah.
Okay, so the release is, coming out in the near future, so people that are kind of paying attention, just keep your eyes open. it'll be coming out, and we have a bunch of support materials and kind of information to come out with it. So let's move on to knowledge.
Knowledge.
So
Just
yeah,
a few weeks away now.
yeah. Have you had any connections with people this week about preparing for knowledge, or
I
what?
have been consuming all of, there's been a few threads on the ServiceNow Dev Slack channel, and on Reddit, people talking about like, hey, what do I need to do to get ready for this thing? Seen some really good recommendations. Ooh, one that I did, oh, I forget, I'm not going to be able to remember her name right now, but um, I'll get it later. I've put my LinkedIn QR code now on my watch, so if ever somebody is like, hey, what's your stuff? I'm saying, yep, here we are. Scan away. That in
Are you
addition
gonna
to,
make me? Are you gonna make me wear my Apple Watch now? I never wear that thing, so maybe I'll have to pull it out just for the conference.
you might. Um, no, just that. And then I think another thing that obviously we're going to be at the booth and having a lot of conversations with a lot of different people, but people are always talking about how like to leave some room in your scheduling to kind of have those conversations that happen. Uh, maybe they're ones that you didn't plan or events that you didn't plan to go to, but um, it can be a really packed agenda. So I said,
Yeah,
leave some gaps.
yeah. I think leaving that space for like serendipity to happen, I think, is important. Is that the right use of that term? I think it
Yes,
is.
I think so.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's finish off with this. Marketing team has put together some things, some fun things to engage people. We have the VividCharts ping pong balls that we got in. They actually bounce really well. And so
Regulation ping pong balls.
yeah, so if you're at the conference and you come across a ping pong ball, come to the booth. We have a game to play with it, and uh, it's a fun way to engage with people, I think. So hopefully we'll see people there. Okay, I think that's all I have for this week.
Yeah, plenty in this release. We got to go back to testing.
Yeah, we got to get back to work. Okay, thanks, Stephen.
Yep. See you, Gary.
Bye.